Welcome to Blind Level Tech. This isn't just accessible tech talk. This is technology on a whole new level. We're showing you just how possible it is to live the life you want.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blind Level Tech. I'm your host, Evan Starnes, in a very echoey control room. In fact, I think, suffice it to say, this is probably going to be the last recording from this space. Dun dun dun. Only because we are moving next Tuesday, and it is Thursday, March 20th as I make this recording. Yeah, crazy things are happening all over the place right now. This recording setup is super jank. I don't even have a real pop filter right now, so I got to be really soft with my plosives and stuff because I'm using one of those glasses cleaning cloths, but it's like one of those pouches. But it does do decently as a little pop filter, so it's like over this mic, all of the noise treatment stuff is down. There's just boxes all over this room, and it's a whole lot of fun. But what's actually a whole lot of fun, I finally got Marty. We've been trying to we've been trying to get together for I don't know what, over a week, something like that.
Yeah, we've been chasing each other all around CSUN and, the week before CSUN and everything else. But in any case, hey, Evan, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am, my brain's like a washing machine on the spin cycle all over the place right now.
Yeah. But the great thing is, at least I've got a pop filter, so we're good there.
You do have a pop filter, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, yeah. We're going to have to post-process, popping.
Post the process.
Process plosives. Crap. I can't.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it was a crazy couple of weeks. I mean, I was there for a week and a bunch of stuff was going on. And then we went straight to CSUN and then we chased each other all over CSUN. And that was total craziness there. But we can get into all of that.
Oh, yeah, we sure will. This whole episode is going to be kind of basically an entire recap of CSUN. Because going into CSUN, I had some plans. And, those plans didn't exactly play out as intended. But,
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, it was, a good learning experience for me. So I guess the first thing I got to say, though, I haven't done a tech gadget in a while, but, of course, right after CSUN, this would have been, huge for me. I kind of splurged a little bit and got the Zoom H2e. I didn't get a 4 because I wanted the surround mics. Although I'm sure the 4 had those, but it's in my price range, and I've been wanting one of the Zoom the Essential Series recorders for a long time now, since they came out. So that's, actually, if I get interrupted by my Comlet doorbell, that'll mean that I've just received it, and I will have to suppress myself from thinking about all the package waiting for me at home, but.
So you got which one did you get? The
H2.
Oh, you got the H2. Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't even know which one that is. I know that it was like a H1, an H4, and an H6.
I didn't know there was an H2 either until I saw a review from Patrick Purdue on Mastodon about it.
So is that one step up from the H1 and one step below the H2? What is, or the H4? I'm sorry, one step below the H4.
Pretty much. It has it has the basic XY mics, but it also has, I think it has a couple additional mics because it's able to record in surround sound. That's the biggest thing it's got going for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know if you were to compare it to the H4 Essential, you've got the 2 microphones that are built into it. Then you've got 2 XLR ports on the bottom, which you can plug in XLR mics if you want to.
Yeah, and that would be nice. Those would be really good for interviews because I've got a kit with labs in it. But yeah, I'm again, we missed each other because I could have played with an H4, but yeah, whatever. They're not scarce or going out of style.
I'll bring it with me when I'm back there.
Yeah, that'll be so much fun. Well, was this your first time at CSUN or no?
No, it was not.
What was this for you then? You're
This was my second year, actually. I went last year and this year.
Okay. Well, this was my honestly, my first year at CSUN. And this is a big year for CSUN. I mean, not only because, we've got the 30th anniversary of JAWS, the industry leading screen reader, but it was the 40th annual CSUN. So,
yep, big deal.
Yeah. I guess really the biggest thing that stood out to me was just the girth of this conference, I guess, for lack of a better term, the amount of stuff, because I've been to even the NFB conventions before a few times. I've been to resource fairs, but never anything like this. We're talking over 100 different vendors from, things like Selves or, what was HIMSS, basically Freedom Scientific, Humanware, HPH, all the good stuff. And even vendors I saw Sony there and LG with their appliances. I didn't get to play with the LG stuff, which is really sad, but
most of it was TVs with accessibility features like screen readers built in and stuff like that.
Oh, that's interesting. In a nutshell, how would you, I guess, describe the entirety of your experience this year?
Well, I will say, first of all, the conference in itself, it was packed. There was a ton of people there. But I find that the reason why it's so crowded and so many people come to this particular event is because there's no affiliation. It's not one or the other, or you don't have to be a member. There's no this team or that team or this group or that group. Everyone just comes all for the same purpose, no matter where you're from. It's all about accessibility. So I really love that. I see a ton of people that I know who come from all over the place. So I really like that a lot. I had a super busy week. I was hit the ground running from the second I got there. And I think the thing that made it super fun, but also probably a little bit more difficult than normal is I was, there with you guys for a week, and then I came home. I was home for literally a day, and then I was out the door the very next morning to head to CSUN, and I just hit the ground running. The first day I got there, it was Monday. I got there around 1, and we were already recording by 4 in the afternoon. So, and I was just on the move the entire time. It was busy. So,
I like the point you made about there being no affiliation with any other big organizations, because I think a lot of other conventions do have some sort of affiliation, and then that affiliation just only brings certain groups of people in. So I think the fact that this doesn't have an affiliate, it really makes it what it is. And you get people from pretty much everywhere. Not even just blind, deaf, blind. I think there was I noticed at least 1 or 2 people in wheelchairs. It's not just one market. And
it's everything accessibility. So they don't only cover vision, although I will say there was a lot of blind people there, and I would say the majority of the technology was catered to the blind and low vision community. There was other things, but it's incredible how it's kind of geared a lot more towards the blind community opposed to the accessibility community. Even though there was something for everyone, there was just a lot of low vision and blind tech, and how many people did you see running around with canes and running into each other and trying to get around the hotel? It was pretty crazy.
Oh, tons. And I think I ran into a few people myself, literally.
Oh, me too. I think you can't go there and not do that. It's part of the fun.
It is, yeah. I mean, that's the thing with these conventions. I love blind conventions in general, because listening to a whole group of tapping canes, it'll just put a smile on your face, at least for me.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely fun.
And then there's the whole part of, especially if you're just going by yourself, it's Joe Steinkamp reference from Blind Bargains. It's kind of when it comes time to find your room, it's time to play Find Your Room. And, it all becomes, yeah, it becomes a whole thing.
Yeah.
I think the other cool thing too with CSUN specifically that I've realized is that this is also a really good opportunity to see a lot of tech that's kind of coming down the pipe, that's in the works. So, we had the first thing that obviously comes to mind that was a big deal, a big prototype, was Glide.
Yeah. Did you get to play with it?
I did.
Yeah, so did I.
I recorded it. Yeah. What were your thoughts on that?
So I played with it last year and this year, so I definitely think it's come quite a ways from last year. They're definitely making forward progress. I feel like the mapping is not integrated into their system yet, so it's still sort of a manual thing. You get the feeling of it, and you get to drive it around and do all of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's really anyone's really going to know what it's like until you have a finished product to whatever their goal is at the end, whatever the finished product is. I think they're always going to be improving it. I will say this, though, and this is something I really, really respect them for, which you don't really see too many other companies doing, is they are traveling all over the country, in every kind of market, and letting people try that thing, talking about it, getting it out there. And they're not trying to hide that it's something in development that they're bringing to, the retail space at some point. So they've done such a good job of getting it out there and bringing everyone along for the ride with them that everybody feels like they're a part of the product, development along the way, because they're good at showing it to people, taking criticism, taking ideas, and bringing people along for the ride. And even though they're not at retail quite yet, they're hoping to get there by the end of the year, maybe beginning of next year. I still feel like because they're being so transparent and they're out there all over the place and they're bringing everyone along for the ride, I think everyone feels like in some way they're a part of the whole thing, and you don't see a lot of customers or a lot of companies doing that, really. I give them a lot of props for that.
I do too. And I think it might actually be to their massive benefit because, especially in the AT world, you hear a lot of big promises for really cool tech and really cool concepts. And a lot of those concepts don't make it to market. So yeah, I think the fact that they have the whole Glide community, they're doing all these focus groups and all the touring and all that, and letting people play with and hold physical prototypes, and watching, really just letting people see the product develop from the ground up is definitely going to benefit them. Honestly, I realized that this year was the year, I feel like, of, at least in my opinion, of multi-line Braille displays, because
there were some cool ones.
Yeah, so
there was one I saw which was really awesome, and it did something that I haven't seen another one do. And it made me really stop and think about this. But there's a lot of people who don't have any vision or have been blind their whole life with no vision. And if you hold a slab of glass like an iPhone in your hand, it just seems like a slab of glass. And this particular Brailler that I saw, one of the things that it did was when you plug your phone into it, it actually takes the icons on the iPhone screen, puts them onto the Braille display, and translates the icons into a tactile image. So for example, the Mail app, you feel on the screen and it's actually the envelope that's the icon on the iPhone, and you can feel what that looks like. Or the phone icon or the messages icon. I thought it was awesome. I haven't seen anything like that. That was really innovative and cool, I thought. Because now someone who is blind, who can't see what's on the slab of glass, can kind of get some kind of an idea of what the icons look like.
Yeah, I mean, that is nothing short of incredible. I'm kind of one of those visual people already. I've always been blind, but know where everything is on my screen, and so I can kind of but being able to, because I've never seen icons. So to me, Mail, if I saw what a Mail icon would look like, I would literally see the Braille letters Mail. I wouldn't even visualize the envelope. So it's kind of a cool little a new perspective. As far as multi-line Braille displays, there is the dot pad. I think the one you're talking about. I'm guessing that was.
I think
the one
that's the dot pad.
It was the one from New. Did you get to see the new haptics one?
I don't think I made it over to that one, but I did see the dot pad, which is the one that has the icons on the on the screen.
That thing's impressively thin for a multi-line display, at least.
Oh yeah.
Because there was the dot pad, the Monarch, and the new haptics. Sorry, new haptics. I'm gonna have you guys on, and I forgot the name of your product. So I do apologize. I actually did do a BLT Byte interview of them, but it was not very good quality. So I left it out of my little CSUN BLT byte recap, but that one out of all of the multi-line devices, like I don't pick favorite. Well, no, forget it. That was my favorite mainly because it had, besides the fact that it had the same kind of similar multi-line display to the others, it had that like little film over the top to protect the pins. And it though, actually, I went with my friend's mom, and she told me that it actually had. I saw this like big, thick cord coming out of the side of it. Turns out that was an air hose because this thing's pneumatic, which is really interesting. Yeah,
that's crazy.
The thing I liked about it,
like a pneumatic air gun, is what you're talking about.
Yep, exactly. But it uses the pneumatics to raise and lower the pins. It's a really interesting concept.
Wow, interesting.
But that would be kind of impractical if you have to have like a compressor because you're going to be using your Braille display. I mean, if you thought an Orbit reader was noisy, this thing would sound like one of those like oxygen machines or something in your room.
You sound like you're in a race car bay where they're changing out the tires. Whoop, whoop,
Yeah, it sounds like that. Exactly. And this thing, actually, the cool part about the new haptics device, though, is that the pad itself was touch sensitive. So rather than, your typical Braille display has like, if you want to move the cursor anywhere or if you want to select things, you have cursor routing keys, above the display. This didn't have any of that. So if you wanted to move the cursor anywhere on the display, you'd put your finger where you wanted, and then you'd just double tap, and it would move your cursor. And that was cool. And it also had mechanical keys, and
if you like a mechanical keyboard, you would love the keyboard on this thing.
Oh yeah. My philosophy is like, if you're selling a product for, especially over 10 grand, this was sitting around $18,000.
Oh, I know, it's crazy.
You got to put some better hardware in it. Like no chiclet keyboard. I mean, some people like the chiclet keyboard. Give people a choice, maybe. Like, give people like Cherry, MX Brown or whatever. Or
well, you probably can change them out and do whatever you want with the keys. I mean, a mechanical keyboard, typically you can change out the keys, change out the switches and all that. So maybe you can do that on that.
Yeah. Did you get to see the Monarch?
No. What was that one like?
It's from a technological standpoint, it's pretty sweet. It does have. I got to see it draw a map, like a tactile map, which definitely proves that it could do the whole like it could draw your phone screen or your iPad screen on it too. It is definitely capable of that. I realized though, when I was learning about the Monarch prior to actually holding one in my hands, that there was some misinformation about it. Somebody had said that there would be a status line, and then it would have the five multi-lines of multi-line Braille, but actually that was the dot pad that had that. So the dot pad had like the multi-line display, and then it had like a 40 cell thing at the bottom.
And I think you can choose a 20 or a 40 cell. I think they had both models.
I believe so. The Monarch, though, out of all of the multi-line devices, that thing's a beast.
Oh, yeah.
It's like as big as I'd say a laptop from like the late 90s, early 2000s. You're not going to be toting around.
It's almost better to be a desktop, really.
That's, I think, what they intend it to be as. Like, it has a battery in it, but that's something that'll basically sit on your desk, kind of like, your OCR scanners or whatever. It had the HumanWare keyboard that you'd expect out of like your Braille Note Touch or what have you. It was pretty good, and we couldn't. Me and my friend could not get the speech to work on it, but it has, it runs Keysoft, so you get like the full suite of Braille Note, features, and you can run Android apps on it. No touch screen though, at least not one that I could see. And so any apps that required a touch screen, you wouldn't be able to use on this device. But
what about the Braille Doodle? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
The Braille Doodle was pretty awesome, actually. It's a cool piece of gear for someone who's learning at any level. It's kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch, if you know what that is.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of like the design. It's like the Etch-a-Sketch for Braille, It's really cool. It's got like bearings and magnets, and it's not that expensive, around $100, I believe, and it's pretty cool. I mean, you can kind of like draw on it, and the bearings come up and make a design, and it's a cool thing, you know. I mean, I've never seen anyone else do anything like it, so it's pretty innovative. I would have to sit down and really get to play with one, but I thought it was pretty cool. All mechanical for the most part, with just bearings and magnets, and a stylus that kind of has a magnet on the end to be able to pull up all the bearings and make a design on the screen and stuff like that. It's cool, you know. I mean, I think it's an interesting thing.
It sounds like it would be honestly, it sounds like something if I was learning Braille, I think I'd fidget with it more than I'd learn on it. But
yeah, it sounds like a big fidget play thing, you know, like a fidget toy.
And I think, hey, you know, maybe this is maybe for perspective, you know, we have people that love to draw, and perhaps like if you lose your vision, you know, I mean, you could still draw, of course, but this would also be a nice like tactile or alternative to that. I mean,
oh yeah,
you couldn't save your sketches anywhere, but you know, you could do, you know, mock-ups with it and stuff. Like,
yep.
And the potential seems pretty cool.
Yeah. So here's what I'll do for you.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about glasses in general, because there's so many of them. It's ridiculous. Here's my deal with the glasses. My deal with the glasses is this. Obviously, everyone likes the Meta. I think mostly because they're so cheap at $300 to $500, depending on which ones you get, and prescription, not prescription, transition lenses, all those things that you can get with the Meta glasses, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, even if you got them fully loaded out with the frames you want, you know, with transition lenses, which means they can be sunglasses or regular glasses, and having a prescription in them and the whole 9 yards, you're going to walk out of there around $500, maybe $600 at the most, right?
Yeah.
All the rest of the glasses out on the market are at least $1,500 and go up all the way to $5,000, $10,000, right?
It's crazy.
But at the end of the day, they all do the same thing for the most part. They all identify a room or a space or a thing or a person. They, you know, have a camera on them. You can listen to whatever music or a podcast. You can take a picture, shoot some video. It's kind of, they all do the same thing. I'm waiting to see the glasses that become completely innovative in a way that's going to blow all the other ones out of the water, right?
Exactly. Like one that you don't have to talk to. And I think the thing with these being, you know, the Meta glasses being a mainstream product is that, and also being a product that doesn't have any opportunity to display things visually, really puts them at an advantage, because you know, they're going to see a lot more development, not even in the, I think, you know, in the, not even just the assistive, you know, kind of aspect, but, you know, a lot of other things. I mean, we have now the ability to just do really good live translation. I've been playing around with their live AI feature for a few weeks. I haven't done any coverage on that just because it's still in early access, and I want to wait for it to actually reach prime time so it's easy for people to get. But
yeah.
The common theme with these glasses, as you said, is it's a tiny little microcomputer, a camera, some, you know, really good directional speakers, some mics, and whatever the heck AI model you throw at it. And it sounds like that's really what you're paying for most of the time, is the software. And
what's going to be the thing that's going to do the best? The thing that's going to blow everyone out of the water and do the best is going to be barrier to entry. Because, you know, most people have to decide, hey, how am I going to spend my money, right? And when you start talking about $1,500, $2,500, $5,000, right? Like, where are you going to spend your money? You got to really, that's a lot of money, you know, especially a lot of money from most people. So when you're coming in at a barrier to entry to $300 to $500, right? I mean, that's almost, I'm not going to say that it is, but it's almost affordable for most people, right? Like, you can definitely come up with $300 to $500 easier than you can come up with $5,000, you know?
Yeah, and even so, it's a lot easier to put on a credit card, a lot less intimidating. And the other thing, I don't know if a lot of these more expensive glasses you're just stuck with what you get. You know, the frames, you know, the frames look like they're whatever they look like. You know, you don't have the different shapes, or you don't have wraparounds or any of that. It's definitely. And then also, can they do more than just assistive? You know, can they do more than just identify and read and OCR stuff? Like, because that's the thing with the Meta glasses, is that they can do all that, but you know, you have, you know, all the the fun, being able to listen to music and link
There's always
things.
the rumors, and currently the rumors are they're working on connecting and working with companies like Be My Eyes and Ira and all these other companies. Now, I don't know about the Ira thing, and I only say that because Ira kind of went down the glasses road once already, and they eliminated that whole glasses thing because it was just it added too much issue to their product. So they were able to streamline their product and make it so everything just runs right off the phone. You don't need anything else, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they fully want to go back into the whole glasses game again. I feel like they've already been there, done that, but maybe they'll do it. I know there's like some beta testing they're doing out there that's not really public. I know it's kind of behind the scenes, but it'd be interesting to see where they come out of the wash in this whole thing because, they are one company that they've already been there with the glasses and bailed on that and changed the way the way people use their technology. So, I mean, do you really think that they're going to go back to that again? What would make them want to go back to someplace they've already been? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, they're kind of there, sort of. I mean, you have the ability to call up an Ira agent and like transfer it to a WhatsApp call through the Meta glasses, I've heard. But I think the thing was when they did those glasses, when they had the Ira Explorer kit, back in 2017, the technology just wasn't there yet. It wasn't small enough that you could, cram a battery, a nice microcomputer, and a set of cameras and speakers into a pair of glasses and expect it to work well. I mean, you could, but they'd probably be really chunky and look kind of hideous to be honest. But
well, they were heavy, and you had a big, huge battery you had to carry around on your hip, and
a phone. It was like a literal a modified Samsung phone that they had put their own software on, and I mean, I think for the time when they did it, I feel like they actually did a really good job, and their camera technology in those glasses was actually, honestly, I think better than some of the stuff that's coming out today, mainly because they had a camera array, so you could get more of like a panoramic view, and it was. But I definitely could see them integrating with existing products as far as making their own line of Ira, making another Ira Explorer kit or whatever they call it. I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think they'll do it either. But we'll see. Maybe that'll be an option to be able to utilize their software with the Meta glasses or, whatever they end up deciding to do. Maybe it'll just be something that you can add on later. Because the one cool thing about it is the hands-free part. That is, if you're out and you're, got your cane and you're, traveling somewhere, the hands-free thing is kind of a big deal.
It is. And honestly, I get kind of... I'm especially traveling to new places. I'm a bit of a jumpy, nervous person sometimes, and trying to juggle a phone and a cane and also keep the camera angle just right, and also maybe trying to read Braille signs and stuff if I need to. A little tough, and having the entire suite of audio and camera and computing on your head, it is convenient. Meta and Be My Eyes have already had that interaction, and they've directly integrated Be My Eyes into the glasses, which does kind of for me decreases, at least in my opinion, the likelihood of a true integration like we're seeing. With Be My Eyes.
Agreed.
Now we had a bit of a fun little encounter with a very, very famous individual.
We did. So on the very last night, which was Thursday night, well, actually the conference did actually end on Friday, but people were mostly leaving by Friday afternoon, definitely by Friday evening.
Oh, yeah.
So the biggest event, I would say, of the week would be Freedom Scientific, JAWS. They make JAWS. They had a big, huge party on Thursday night in the middle of the hotel. There was like this whole area where they kind of like squared it all off. And in the middle of this whole space was a bar. And then there was just people all around the outside of it in the middle of this hotel. And they had music and they had a ton of people there. We were talking about this before we started recording, but the great thing is that it was 30 years for JAWS and everybody wanted to be there to be a part of that. And I have to say, there was probably 1,500 people there. I mean, that's what it felt like. Maybe 2,000. It was packed. So the bad part about it was just major sensory overload for a lot of people. I mean, everyone was just having a great time. It was super fun. I was glad I was there, but it was definitely sensory overload. It was loud and all of that. But for a lot of people, it was a once in a lifetime thing. And there's someone hugely important and hugely large in the industry who comes to this every year. Yep. And you want to talk about who that is?
Yeah. If you didn't catch the BLT Bite, and especially the interview that Joe Weber and I had, actually, we were talking in the front lobby and mainly about Be My Eyes, because that's, what he does. And right as we're in the middle of an interview, he like looks over and he's like, Stevie Wonder is like walking through the lobby and he's like 20 feet away from you right now. And I kind of stopped at the moment because it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, wait a minute. I mean, you go to this tech conference, you think you're going to play with a bunch of tech, and Stevie Wonder's literally standing 15 feet away. I've been listening to his music for, years, since I was little kid. And meeting him for me was incredibly spontaneous. My friend's mom ended up kind of she actually brought me where he was. He was standing by the Sony booth, and one minute I was just walking into the exhibit hall, just minding my own business, and the next minute I'm standing right smack next to the guy, and he's just the most down-to-earth, chill dude I've met. Our interaction, like I said, jumpy, nervous dork sometimes. He came up to me, kind of put his arm around me. He was like, "How you feel?" And I didn't know how to feel. I felt like 5 different things at once. And yeah. I made that known. And I got to shake his hand. The cologne and whatever he was wearing, I don't know what it was, but it smelled good. And it was kind of one of those like, just call me weird, but that was kind of the trace of meeting Stevie Wonder I had, was shaking his hand, and it smelled like Stevie Wonder.
But you know what? Now, for the rest of your life, if you ever smell that smell again, immediately you're going to go, "Oh, Stevie Wonder."
Stevie Wonder. Exactly.
It's going to be a trigger for you now.
Yeah, and not expected at all, but I think the fact that, the thing I liked about Stevie Wonder is that he didn't have any like bodyguards or anything. It was him, and I think it was Mike May that was with him as his guide. And he didn't have a cane either. That was the not exactly.
He always has somebody with him.
Yeah, and he's I found out, Stevie Wonder's a sighted guide user, pretty much, predominantly at least in these spaces. And honestly, I can't blame him on so many aspects.
Here's the thing a lot of people don't realize, though, is that he comes to this conference every year because he's majorly into technology, but he's majorly into the culture and, the space, the technology to improve, people who are blind and low vision, their independence, their creativity, all of those things. He's very, very in support of that. And he does come every year, and, he gets around during the day to all the different vendors, and he, chats with people and goes to the party at night and the whole 9 yards. So this is something he does every year. It's very important to him. If you have a conversation with him, he will tell you it's very important to him, the culture, the independence, and allowing people to be able to, experience life, using technology to the best of their ability to whatever you want to do, whether that's, being successful in some sort of a job, making your life more independent, creative, whether you're writing music or doing audio production or video production or whatever it is. So he's very, very much supportive of this community.
Absolutely. And I like that. I get the impression, especially with celebrities, that they tend to use their status as kind of like I am above you because I am famous and have, he's not like, you meet Stevie, he's just like meeting
anybody else. He's really grounded.
Exactly. I think one of at least for me, the less fun thing that I had that week was actually a sandwich of the week. Marty, you tried so I stayed with my friends, and we'll talk about this before we wrap up the show. I stayed with my friend in San Diego, and I did not get to try any of the hotel food, which actually, now that we've talked about it, probably a good thing. You got to try a burger.
I did.
How would you say their hotel food was?
It was all right. I mean, it wasn't the best burger I ever had, and it wasn't the worst burger I ever had. It kind of rode right down the middle, I think that it was expensive.
Yeah,
it was the most expensive burger I've had. I mean, and it kind of ruins it because,
that's the thing.
You spend so much money, and then you're going, is it really that good? But they get you because there's nowhere else to go really unless you want to leave the hotel, and you don't really have time to leave the hotel. That's a whole nother, production. And they know that people give into it because, if you leave, you got to get a ride, then you got to find where you're going and then get food and then come back. It's a whole thing. By the time you do all that, you might as well just stay there and get whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They had, the restaurant, and they had just average stuff. I mean, it was all okay. It was very expensive, so that kind of is a little bit of a bummer. And they also had another area where you can get pizza. That was okay. It wasn't the best pizza you ever had, but it was a little bit more affordable at least. And then in the morning, they had this other section where you can get pastries or a breakfast burrito or like a breakfast sandwich, and that was all right. I mean,
yeah,
it was all okay. There was nothing that was so good where I went, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I ever had. But it was all right.
It checked the food box off effectively.
Yeah, it basically filled the necessity, got to eat. So
yeah,
a lot of people I noticed were doing like Instacart at the beginning of the week when they first got there and got a bunch of stuff to keep in their room, and they would kind of carry some munchies around in a go bag with them, or they would go back to the room and make a sandwich and try to eat a little bit less and save some dollars. So
I think honestly that's what I would do if I went, because I was talking to another friend that went, and he was saying that he was staying in a hotel across the street from that hotel, and it was like, it was more cost effective for him, because it is, I mean, yes, it is super convenient to be able to have your food, your lodging, your convention in all in one space, but the convenience is what affects the price, because they got to take advantage of it somehow. I'm not going to say it wasn't it was a very beautiful hotel. It was very very nice, but yeah, again, I definitely agree. I tried, they had like a cute little market with you could go get snacks and stuff, and it was average snacks, but yeah, again, it was kind of price hiked. And yeah, I honestly didn't even think of the whole Instacart thing, but I think that's a great idea. Just get get a loaf of Wonder Bread, some lunch meat and cheese and condiments, and make some sandwiches for the week. I think that's probably maybe the best.
I mean, you could still eat out. You just don't have to eat out 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
And
oh my God.
That'll be like a down payment on a home by the time you get to the end of the week.
Yeah, for real. My sandwich is. It's actually, this is something weird. I'm putting this here because it's a sandwich I had that was really, the concept was cool, but the place that we went to, I did not care for it much. I don't even remember the name of what it was. It was like a really highly rated barbecue joint kind of thing. And it was super, me and my friend, we were trying to find a nice place to eat, but this place was sensory overload on a whole nother level. I mean, echoey, concrete, everything, and metal tables and stuff, and people talking and doing whatever. And it was actually louder somehow, which is weird. It was louder than the exhibit hall in a weird way. But the sandwich I had, I liked the concept of it. It was a grilled cheese, but
grilled cheese, that sounds good.
It is, but with beef brisket on it, and it was really good.
Wow! And where did you get that from?
I don't even. I honestly,
was that out of the hotel?
No, that was we were trying to go. We were on our way back to San Diego, and we were trying to find a barbecue place to go, and so. Like I said, I was so unimpressed. Honestly, I was I kind of just scrubbed the name from memory.
Okay.
Really, though, the reason I'm putting the sandwich is because I think a grilled cheese with beef brisket is a fantastic idea. And, though longtime, followers of the show will know me and my whole thing with grilled cheese and putting butter on it and putting it in the air fryer. I don't care if it makes it soggy, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Kelvin gave me such a hard time for that. He was like,
you got to find that thick bread that you get, the extra thick bread,
the spongy stuff kind of, but
yeah,
not the stuff that feels spongy, but it has
no, it's
that
just thicker, like French toast bread.
There you go. Like or even Texas toast.
Texas toast bread. Yeah.
Yeah, like a Texas toast grilled cheese would be really good.
Oh, yeah.
But as we wrap up this episode, and honestly, as I had wrapped up the CSUN conference, what I'd realized is that what I wanted to do initially was, number one, play with tech, and look at new stuff and, ask questions and maybe get my hands on something in the future when I can afford it. But, and also, I wanted to collect a bunch of stuff for BLT. And, I feel like I figured this would kind of be a good way to grow the show. Mainly because I was trying to kind of fill in the niche of, one of my favorite podcasts. They used to do a lot of event coverage of like ATIA, CSUN, NFBCon, and they did such a good job of like live coverage of it. And I kind of figured, no, I can do that. I got this recorder and I got Audacity and all that. But what I didn't take into account was the lack of energy afterwards and the amount. You said sensory overload. I mean,
sensory overload's a huge thing.
That's almost a theme in some way. And I'd also realized I kind of made the mistake of treating it like a convention vacation. And what I've realized is that you kind of can't do both. You can either have one or the other. And trying to do both, you'll end up burning yourself. Well, you can do
both, but you just have to do serious time management. Yeah. So, like, for example, during the day, you got to be on your game. Make a list and try and hit all the boxes in the day. And then in the evening, if you don't get invited to a party to go hang and network or whatever, then you use that time to have some fun. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But there's parties every night, so, but most of them are fun. It's like everyone just kind of lets it loose in the evening time. Yeah. It's more business and networking during the daytime.
Absolutely. And I'd gone with a friend, and I if you're listening to this, thank you, by the way, for making this whole thing happen, because we had all kind of, this was our first time, me and my friend and her mom, going to this conference. So it was a learning experience for all of us. And we definitely realized why it might be a good idea to actually stay in the hotel, because we figured, we'd save, it'd be a little, it'd save some bucks and go back to their place at San Diego. But it's an hour there and an hour back, which is also
without traffic.
Oh yeah, and
if it's traffic, it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and I thought Denver traffic was bad. San Diego's a whole nother beast.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, too, I went there kind of like you, hit the ground running. Like I was in, grabbed my name tag and hit the exhibit hall interviewing pretty much. And what I'd also realized is that I feel like people were prepared to give their elevator speeches and to talk about their products, but they weren't necessarily prepared to do it in like a podcast setting of sorts. Not all of them, at least. And so kind of what I'd wish I had done was literally just, and this is what I'd recommend to anybody going to conferences like this. You try to go the full week, don't just go for 2 days or whatever.
That's impossible. I mean, if you're just going to go and just do whatever in a day, that's fine. But if you're trying to, hit all the things, check all the boxes, you cannot do it in a day.
No. Yeah. If you got goals to accomplish or you're trying to produce a podcast, I mean, especially if it's just you doing it, like that's the thing is I'm a stubborn guy. I stubbornly insist on, recording and editing everything, and because I also realized like a lot of those other podcasts, especially the ones I deeply admire, they have hosts and they also have like producers behind them. And I will say, like, I do seek help from Jonathan, our producer, for this show, but mostly for these full length episodes. But all the stuff that I was doing at CSUN, it was all on me. And yeah, I think to anybody, go and spend, especially if you have stuff to do and you have goals, just spend day one just walking around and taking it all in, because it really would have made the experience for me so much less overwhelming, and also just, it was fun, but it would have made it more fun. And
well, if you want to go for content, then definitely you should make a list of the most priority things that you want to hit and try to hit those, and then, because you'll know who all the vendors are before you even get there. They have it out, on their website, or, in a pamphlet that you can get, and you can kind of decide, what are your top things that you want to see, and talk to those different companies or services or products, and you just work your way through your list, and hopefully you can knock that out in the first day or two, and then you can get all the stragglers in day 3 and 4 or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe too, I think on the first day, I'm almost wondering if it would have been best to go to where I wanted to go ahead of time and just say, hey, I'd like to interview you guys for this podcast. This is BLT. And maybe it would have made it less spontaneous for them, because for me, I guess, I still consider myself pretty fresh in the podcasting world here. Trying to pitch the show and immediately be like, hey, do you want to record and let's talk about your products? It kind of, I feel like it threw people for the loop. So maybe just telling people in advance who I want to see, and then actually going and conquering that list the second day, second, third, fourth day might also have led to better content. I don't know. And not that the content I got was bad, but it might have just made it a little more seamless.
Yeah.
But honestly, the big takeaway is, stay in the area of the conference. Don't stay, an hour away, and take a day to take it all in. And also don't treat it as just a solely work event, because it won't be as fun. You got to go to the parties. Gotta have fun. Yeah, go to the parties, go to the networking events. This is such a good opportunity for people to network, and for, as corny as it sounds, for new doors to open and all that,
No, it's great. It's a great place to network,
Absolutely.
All kinds of people to meet, and, get new opportunities and all kinds of stuff. And if nothing else, so work on your networking skills. It's a great place to do that,
Yeah, your networking, your content creation skills, any
social skills,
Oh yeah, big time. And also just you'll know your limits. You'll know how much you can handle for sure. And as far as next year, we will definitely be at CSUN next year. And I definitely want to do kind of the same thing, as far as I really want to do live coverage, but I have now, I feel like a way, at least a format for how I want to do things. And I'm glad I got to go. I'm glad that we, got to experience it. And, I didn't leave I actually managed to leave without buying anything, which is a first.
They actually don't sell anything there.
Yeah, that's true. My friend was trying to
show off all their stuff, but you can't buy anything.
Yeah. I thought I was going to get a recorder that week, but whatever. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. And honestly, we're going to go ahead and wrap up all of the fun CSUN coverage. And yeah, wrap up this episode. And Marty, you'll definitely see more of Marty on future BLT episodes. I'm not going to hint at anything right now, but as I try to refine the show and kind of not rebuild it from the ground up at all, because it's a good show, but just give it its niche in the podcast, and especially in the AT podcast market. There's gonna be there's gonna just be more fun little things down the pipe. Of course,
you're gonna tweak it a little, and make it some adjustments, do a little tweaking.
Absolutely.
But the meat and potatoes of it will still be there.
100%. The meat, potatoes, the bacon, lettuce, and tomatoes.
There you go.
Exactly. And of course, I wouldn't be able to tweak the show, without your feedback. And I do love getting feedback and enjoying listening to people's testimonies / stories or, funny things that they heard that, I didn't even realize were funny in the first place. But yeah, this show thrives on feedback, as do all of our other podcasts. So, that being said, you got feedback or suggestions, questions, comments, whatever it might be for me or any of our other podcast hosts, you always got to email feedback@aftersight.org or leave a friendly voicemail at 720-712-8856. And yeah, with that being said, we'll go ahead and end this episode. Thank you for joining us again this week. I've been your host, Evan Starnes, of course, joined by the one and the only Marty Sobo. I like to say that.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Evan. Appreciate it. Had a great time, and hopefully I'll see you more on here as we move into the future.
100%. So we'll go ahead and catch you guys again next week.
See ya.